I'm sure that these two guys have got a little recruiting to do if you're in the state of Florida. But Coach Stoops, thank you for attending from the SEC and bringing your team down, and we're excited about having you. And Coach Johnson, always excited about having Georgia Tech in our bowl game. You've played in our bowl game a number of times. Your team hasn't. I think the coolest thing about it, Gary Smith's told me, we have now covered all 14 schools in the Southeastern Conference.
It's about time we got here, right?
You know, that's exactly right. I don't know what the heck took us so long. But I will tell you this, you've played a number of times, your team's played a number of times here, and we've had a number of ACC teams also play in our bowl game, and we kind of like this SEC-ACC matchup stuff. So let's have a seat. Before we get to questions, I'm just going to congratulate you first. I mean, it's always great to go in between the hedges and win a great football game there, but you turn the season around right after the third or fourth game, and you've had a tremendous run the last 7 or 8 weeks in the ACC, and you beat one of the division champions, and you beat the rival Bulldogs. So how did your season go, and how do you feel about it, Coach?
Well, you know, first of all, thanks for the invite. We're excited to be here. I was really proud of our team, the way we finished the season. We won 5 of the last 6 games. You know, we started out 3-3 and kind of had to break, and it felt like the season was kind of just mediocre, just kind of sitting there. And, you know, we got fortunate and got hot a little bit, started playing a little better, and really finished up the season on a positive note. So hopefully we can carry that momentum into Jacksonville. Certainly we'll need to do that against what's a very fine Kentucky team that also, you know, finished strong.
You know, as bowl directors, we like to get teams that are on the rise. Also get teams that finish their season pretty dramatically. And you went and beat the number 11 team in the country. That's pretty special, but you did something, I guess, after the 3rd or 4th week, and then you turned it around also, Coach. So tell us a little bit about your season.
Well, I think just like Paul said, we were much the same. We didn't start the way we wanted to. We won 5 out of our last 7 and really turned it around. I'm really proud of our team and the way we played, and certainly capping it, beating Louisville was a big boost for us. So, again, we need to keep it going, playing coach in Georgia Tech, so it'll be a real challenge.
Well, I know your fans are great fans. I told the story the other night, and I'll tell it again. In 1983, I went up to Kentucky, drove into the town. It was 11:30 at night, and there was a traffic jam in the middle of town, and I couldn't figure out what was happening, so I rolled my window down, and I asked the guy next to me. I said, "What's going on?" And he said, something called Midnight Madness. They play basketball in Kentucky or something like that. But the next day you went into the stadium, and I think y'all had won 3 or 4 games that year, and you were playing Florida, and the place was full, completely full. And the renovation of your stadium is just unbelievable. And your fans are responding, and they're coming, and they're filling it up every week. And talk about your fans.
Well, absolutely. We have a phenomenal fan base. They go by the BBN, and they are certainly very energetic, very passionate, and that's what I said since I've been there. You know, the history of basketball, they deserve that recognition. They've been good for a long, long time, and so it only helps us. We bring our recruits to the basketball game. It's a phenomenal experience, but in football, we've really made a big push. Mitch Barnhart, the renovations to our stadium, Commonwealth Stadium, absolutely beautiful. We just moved into a 100,000 square foot football only, a $55 million football complex. So there's no excuses. We need to take our game to another level. We're proud to be here, participate in this bowl game, but our fans have been phenomenal. Our administration has been absolutely phenomenal. And for us and for football, there's no excuses because we have the support, we have the facilities, and we're well on our way to build a great program at Kentucky.
That's great, Coach. You guys, it's funny because you played Notre Dame down here, and then you played Miami, so 2 pretty good football programs. Probably the best game I've seen since I took this job was your victory over Notre Dame. You run a little bit different type of offense than most people. You get after them a little bit on defense like everybody else, but good football teams always do that. Tell us a little bit about how difficult it is to defend. Let's help Coach Stoops defend
I could answer that question.
Well, you know, we don't see ourselves as being all that different, but I guess maybe we are. But, you know, we're basically an option football team offensively, and we try to run several different forms of the option, and we change up some blocking schemes once in a while. it's just something that we've been doing for a long time, and we feel like that we know what we want to do. Sometimes physical superiority can cancel all theory, but at least we have an idea of what we're trying to do offensively. And defensively, we played a little better as the back half of the year. We got some turnovers and got some stops. Early on, we really struggled third down defense and getting off the field. And you know, it is kind of unique in what we do, but there's very few teams in college football anymore that don't embrace some form of the option and the zone read and those kind of things. And certainly, you know, Kentucky does a lot of that out of their Wildcat stuff and some of the things they do. So probably not as big a difference as people would make it out to be, really.
Well, you just got a new AD, and your former athletic department did a great job in facilities up in Atlanta also for you. And we know the academics there and how difficult it is to recruit. And I'm assuming that both of y'all are going to try to recruit some players while you're down here. I sure hope that we didn't waste your time coming to Jacksonville, but you feel good about where you are and the recruiting class you've got coming in?
Well, we do. First of all, you know, as you mentioned, we do have a new athletic director, Todd Stansberry, who's a former football player at Georgia Tech. So we're certainly excited about that and about his arrival and moving forward. And as you mentioned, we've got probably, I think, seven or eight kids on our team from Jacksonville area, North Florida. When we finish today, I've got a couple of home visits set up before we go back tonight. So it's an area that we like to recruit. There's a lot of good football here. You know, so, and we're excited again to be here. We've got a pretty good fan base in the North Florida area, in Amelia, Ponte Vedra, the Jacksonville area. So we're hoping that we'll have a good turnout as well.
I'm sure you will. You're in the Eastern Division, but you're kind of over there where those West guys are, and you're having to probably recruit directly against some of the teams in the West. And most people say the SEC West is the best division in college football. So how's your recruiting going, and how do you feel about having to recruit against the Alabamas and the Auburns of the world?
Yeah, thank you. Recruiting's gone exceptionally well for us. We're off to another good start this year. Hopefully we can close very well. Again, just like Coach said, we have quite a few players from the Florida area, all the way from down south, all the way up here to North Florida. So I spent quite a bit of time in Florida coaching at 3 different Florida schools, so very familiar with the talent in this area. We recruit exceptionally hard in Kentucky. We've done very well in Ohio, but yeah, we need to branch out a bit and cover quite a bit of ground, but it's going very well, and we're excited about trying to close here.
Every coach that I ever talked to wants that 15 days of practice going to a bowl game. And I think that's obvious from going from when we joined and started our bowl game in 46, there were only 6 of us. Now there's 40 of us. I'm assuming that's very important for those 2 weeks of practice to get those in preparation for the following year. What's your approach to bowl games? Are you trying to get ready for next year? I know you're trying to win a football game. There's no doubt about that. But you got a lot of young players to get some more reps, get an opportunity. Just tell us that.
I was just picking Coach's brain. You know, it's my first bowl game as a head coach, so Coach and I were just talking about some of our schedules. You always have to balance it. Our players are finishing school right now. They have the challenge of finals next week as well. It's been a long, grueling season. So we gave them a couple weeks off. We'll get back at it this Friday and practice for 3 days. Then we have to give them a few days off for finals, and then we'll get back into it. But I think there will be a mix about developing our young players and working and basically trying to get some extra practices like a spring practice for development reasons. And then we have to get on to the preparation with the real challenge of playing Georgia Tech, and it's super important. We just talked about the great finish that both of our programs have, and this next game will be an extension of that. It'll be very important for us to try to get the victory, so there'll be a lot of preparation on Georgia Tech as well.
Great. Coach?
Well, yeah, I think along the same lines, I try to find a balance for our guys between, I think going to a bowl game is somewhat of a reward for the players on their season, and at the same time you want to make sure that you're getting ready for the opponent that you have to play. So we spend a little bit of time with our young guys, maybe not as much as some of the others. What we're really trying to accomplish is to get them prepared for spring practice. So get them up to speed, because all year they've been on scout teams and they haven't had a chance to do that. So we'll take the end of each practice right up until about the last week before the bowl game and work with those guys on fundamentals. But, you know, we're in the middle of finals at Georgia Tech, and that can be very difficult for our young men. So we'll probably get about, you know, maybe 10 practices in. It's futile to try to practice during finals at a place like ours. You're not going to get anything accomplished. So our big focus will be on trying to finish the season strong. You know, midway during the year when it looked like that we were going to be out of our division race in the conference, we set a goal to try to get to 9 wins. And to do that, we'll have to win here. So that's going to be the main focus, is getting ready to play a good Kentucky team.
Well, our philosophy is once you get here, we're going to reward your student athletes. We're going to try our very best to give them a really, really good time, and we'll do that for the first couple of days, and then we'll get out of your way and let you get on about trying to win another football game. So with that, I'll just open it up to any questions from. Let's take the media first. And does anyone have any questions from the media? Yeah. Gary Smith from the Florida Times-Union.
Well, you know, I kind of see it as an extension on this season, but we've got a really young football team. We'll have 9 starters back on offense next year and 8 on defense. So this team we didn't have a lot of seniors. So, you know, it'll be big for our guys to try to finish strong, to use that in the off season. I think that more importantly, how you're perceived coming into next fall has a lot to do with how you finish and how you finish in the bowl game. So, you know, we missed a bowl game last year for the first time in, I think, 20 years. So our guys are excited to have a chance to be back and just looking forward to playing. But I really view it as more of an extension of this year and then part of next year.
I agree. Much the same with what Coach said. I think we've talked about it all year. Going back to last year and missing a bowl game, we came up just short at 5-7, and we're very close. And we talked all off season, all summer about finishing. And we're certainly very proud the way we finished the regular season. And I think, again, this is an extension of that. So it's very important for us, for our seniors, for our fan base to try to get the victory. As you know, that could lead to a lot of momentum with your fan base, with season tickets and support, and the confidence of your team as we get into off-season and our preparation for next year. So I really think it's twofold, starting with the importance of finishing off this team with these seniors in this year. But certainly it'll help you as you push forward.
Mark, you mentioned teleconference today about knocking down doors, and this is one of them. With the kids you got coming back and the upward trend of this team, is it not inconceivable to think that you guys will be contending for a division title next year?
That's always the plan. We don't ever put any predictions on numbers or anything like that. We're constantly trying to get better and progress and put ourselves in a position to win games. We had that opportunity this year late in the season to compete for the East Championship. We had a phenomenal game with Georgia, came up just short. That would have put us in a position for the next game to play for the East Championship. We continue. That's the plan, to progress. We also have a very young team. We have quite a few of our guys coming back into 2 deep, and we definitely look to improve for next year, yes.
Any other questions? Okay. Anybody from our group have any questions? These guys sitting out here with these green coats, that's the last bastion of the old bowl business. And I've seen the red ones and the orange ones and the yellow ones. And I said, you know, we're pretty close to Augusta National. Maybe we'll just go with the Masters. So that's why you see that. So,
I like that.
My first time on Augusta National was playing with your golf team, as a matter of fact, years ago when Dave Brain was the AD. So Mitch, Todd, thank you both for being here. What I would like to ask you to do now is for both of y'all to come up and the two coaches come down here and let us get some publicity pictures in front of the helmets and the trophy.
Sounds
Okay?
good.
Great.
Thank you for coming.